Brad Kutsier, Coachman Training System / Coachman Strength and Conditioning. So we have two different entities within our business. Coachman Strength and Conditioning is our gym. So we offer a strength conditioning formatted gym that offers adult, kids, athlete training. And then we also have our Coachman Training System, which is more of a consultation business. So gym design, stuff like that.
And how did you get started?
So I have been in the fitness industry for since end of 2007. So for 10 years, my first 10 years, I worked for a corporate gym in the area as a personal trainer, sports performance coach, fitness manager, executive director of a gym. And after about 10 years, I was a little sick of the corporate environment, so decided to basically go out on my own and started in my home garage. Started small to now we see about almost 600 people every week. At that point, when we first started, we were seeing about 30 people a week. Now we're up to 600 people a week with 14 coaches on staff. So we're busy. My first day training was December 1st, 2017 in my garage gym. It'll be almost 5 years in the first. So at the point, I had invested, I think, $20,000 to get going. This includes just general upkeep of the gym, or the garage. So we painted and got flooring and stuff like that, and obviously the basic equipment we needed, squat rack, dumbbells. And I followed a gentleman that owns a gym in Boston, Massachusetts, that always spoke about starting small and then growing it from there. So there's a lot of gyms in the industry that start really big and invest this huge amount of money and then they fail, right? So we started off pretty small, small clientele base, small investment, and then just grew it as we went along. So the thing that I really enjoyed doing was I found equipment for cheap. So talking like Facebook Marketplace, and some of the main stuff I bought brand new, but a lot of it was, buying a gym that was closing, buying their equipment for cheap and stuff like that. So I tried to penny pinch where I could, and allowed myself to still make somewhat of a paycheck. I'd say the first year and a half of owning my business, I didn't really make any money in terms of paying myself. So it was a stretch.
When you moved in here, what was that transition like?
So from December 1st until September 1st, we were in the garage. We actually, in our location here, we've got 2 bays of a complex, and we actually had 1 bay at the opposite end of this building to start. So we were in there, and it's about 1,800 square feet. Started there September 1st, 2018, and we're there until beginning of 2020. We knew these individuals that are in the space that we're in now were leaving at the beginning of 2020, and we were in negotiations to go over and take this space over because it's double what we had there, because we had grown so much. And they moved out, and then pandemic hit. And the funny thing is, the day I was going to sign our lease for this space to move over was when the shutdown happened. So I didn't sign it. Sat on my couch for a month or whatever that was, a couple weeks, and saw the outpouring need of individuals that wanted to continue to work out. And we were doing giving people workouts online and keeping them moving as best we could, and without any coaching. We didn't do any virtual videos or anything like that. It was all just like, hey, we have an app that we just program workouts to, and we just kept constant communication, kept people moving. We were doing workouts in our neighborhood and outside and stuff like that. So, and going to my wife, I was like, you know what? I think I'm still gonna do this. She's like, you're not even supposed to be open. How are you gonna double your space? You don't even know if you're gonna be able to be open ever again. At that point, everybody was like, gyms, get away, you'll die if you go to a gym, so I did it anyway. And during that time, I was in here with a few of my coaches at the time, and we just remodeled this whole place ourselves, basically. It was a lot of work. And then in May, we moved all of our equipment over, and started like a soft opening with the big doors open and stuff like that. Had people coming in one-on-one training, outdoors, indoors a little bit. And that summer, we just absolutely grew tenfold. It was unbelievable, the amount of people, because they just wanted to work out again. So, and we've been steamrolling ever since.
And to get those people to come in, like, how did you get them? How did you reach out? How did you advertise?
I didn't, to be honest, because I didn't know, what was legal, what was right. So it was just more of all word of mouth.
Okay.
It was friends, family members telling everybody, hey, let's, Coachman's open. They're going to be having their big bay doors open, fans blowing out, sanitation everywhere. You know how it was. Some people wearing masks, some people not. We didn't enforce any rules or anything like that because it was kind of indoor outdoor. We didn't have our lobby open. It was just like today, a chaos. A chaotic, environment that just, it worked. It was kind of fun. But I actually, in my almost 5 years, I think I've spent advertising wise like minimal dollars. We use social media, we use Instagram, stuff like that. We don't have a huge following, but the following we have is engaged, and they obviously take part in it. And we're only growing that space, we're only starting to advance it just a little bit. A lot of our leads and stuff like that just literally come from word of mouth. I love this place, I love the community, great coaches, we get results. I'm going to keep referring my friends and my family, and that's how it works. And we incentivize sometimes to give people some free months and stuff like that, so they, obviously get a little kickback from that. We offer basically 3 different programs. We offer personal training, which is one-on-one, like you and I would be, meeting however many times a week we want to meet. Our coaches obviously set up time frames with them, so that's one variation. That's a high ticket cost, right, compared to what other things we offer. So high ticket meaning you're paying more for the attention, the results from the coach. So a piece of that, we pull about 40% of our revenue from that. And then our semi-private training. So our semi-private training is class-based, so it's a set time every single day that we have set up on our app. It's a schedule. People RSVP for it. We limit our classes to 1 to 8, so meaning one coach up to 8 people, and that's an industry standard. So I say industry standard, a lot of people go to other gyms that have group formats in the area and they have one coach per 25 people. We like to stay at the industry standard because obviously we want people to have some connection. We want them to have a hands-on approach with our coaches. So and that's about 60% of our revenue base is our semi-private. So I'd say we have about 100 personal training members, then the rest are all semi-private. And then our last little chunk that we do is we actually are contracted to train all of South Christian high school athletics. So about 25 hours a week we're at their high school training all their athletes. So that's a big piece of what we offer. So our coaches are very bought into South Christian. We go to their games, we go to their events. They have a big playoff game tonight, and they won volleyball regionals last night. So we're very engaged with them and making sure that their kids are trained and they're very athletic and they're winning games, and that's the goal. Yeah, so our biggest expense at our gym is our coaches. So our payroll is our biggest expense. Most gyms with their personal trainings, they offer like a 50-50 split, or the gym gets 70% and the coach gets 30% of whatever they offer. I do the complete opposite. I do a 75-25 split. I want my coaches to make good money, and I want them to actually invest into the stuff that they do, and I want them to be able to live. Because at one point I was a coach, and I remember what it was like making like $10, $20 an hour in the gym making 60. It just didn't make sense to me. And obviously they have to have a big, beautiful gym to do it. But so that's a big piece of how our coaches work. And then obviously they get compensated for all the classes and hours they coach there. So they're all commission based. They, anytime they're working, they're getting paid. If they're not working, they're not getting paid.
And then what are your day-to-day operations?
So for me, a lot of administrative stuff, keeping my coaches in line. We meet every week. We go through all of our cleaning stuff, making sure the gym looks somewhat decent, which is very hard with a lot of people going in and out all the time, especially after today. So that's a piece of it. Obviously keeping up our marketing, keeping up with all of our member management software, making sure our members have their credit cards up to date and little stuff like that. I have a lot of meetings with South Christian coaches, and it's a continual revolving door of things that we have to do. I do have some coaches on staff that do have a little more responsibility. Like Coach Mel, she helps out with our community relation stuff. So, meaning she's always dealing with anybody that needs to change their membership or cancel or join. Brady and Alyssa, they coach our youth and teen athletes. So we start at 8 years old to 12 years old. That's our youth program, and Coach Alyssa handles that specific population. And then Brady handles our teens. And then obviously they also train in personal training on the side. Courtney helps out with all of our events. So like our Veterans Day stuff today, that was all Courtney. She set it all up and ran with it. And then our last one is Alex. Alex trains and then obviously helps out with all of our nutrition. So we have a client that really, is struggling on the nutrition side. They'll sit down and meet with him, get that all organized, and the results are going to come a lot faster when the nutrition's in line. So
how many hours did you put in, like when you first started, to how many hours?
1 million. If you asked my wife, you'd say I worked all day, every day. I was constantly on my phone, trying to grow the business, constantly working, constantly training. I had one other coach at the time when we first started that worked with me. She now lives in California. When the pandemic hit, she and her husband took a trailer and traveled out west and just did whatever, because they were like, we don't want to sit here in our house and do nothing. So she helped grow a ton. We were just two people working the entire time, and I've had a few coaches in and out, and they've helped a little bit too as well. But I would say it was a 24/7 job, to be honest. I was up early at the gym at 5 a.m., sometimes training till 8 o'clock at night, just so that way I could pay my mortgage and feed my kids and do all other good stuff. So it was very nice though that my wife had a very good job. I mean, that was a piece that allowed me to do this. She was a nurse at the time and ran a neonatal unit at Bronson Hospital, so she worked 3/12s, worked nights, and that worked out with our schedule. She'd come home, I'd leave. I'd leave, she'd come home, so we hardly ever saw each other, but it paid off in the long run so far. But yeah, it was a constant staying organized, constant learning opportunities. I always reached out to other people in the industry to see what the kind of stuff they were doing to grow their business, and some things I took, some things I didn't. Going to conferences helped, learning some new stuff there.
How do you plan on expanding or growing if you want to?
We have been looking for land to build, but obviously building costs are through the roof. To get a estimate of $2 million to build a building right now is like, I'm not doing that. We're doing well, but not that well. So we actually have a gentleman in the area that has a warehouse space that we're trying to buy right now. So that's our goal, is to have a bigger space. Right now we're close to 4,000 square feet in total space, but we need about double that for what we're trying to grow to be able to offer. We have a lot of our semi-private stuff is offered in the morning, and those things are full all the time. People are trying to get into classes and they can't. So people love 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. workouts. They're crazy people. I don't understand how they do it. I don't mind training people, but I don't want to work out that early. It's too early for me. I would say maybe even growth-wise, like we've gone from 30 clients to 594 was what I looked at, on average of $100 a member. I could make way more money if I wanted to, but I choose to invest into my coaches, and I choose to invest in my equipment, and I choose to obviously invest into a potential new building. So some months are $60,000 that we're pulling into the gym, but 75% of that is claimed sometimes. So
What are 3 tips of advice for other entrepreneurs?
first tip I would say is have some mentors, have some individuals that you can continually bounce ideas off, other business owners that have created success and are winning every day. Because at the end of the day, like when I first started, it was very eye-opening, the shit I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, I got a 4-year Bachelor of Science degree and I've got an MBA. And I'm like, all right, I'm starting this business. I've just ran a business. I know how to do this. And then it's like, wait, I got to create this LLC. I've got to learn how to file my taxes. I've got to learn to, use QuickBooks. And I've got to learn to take pictures of all the stuff, like expenses and all that stuff. I didn't know. So, like, a piece of it is like, getting mentors. But also, I would say, like, to find the right people that are behind you in your network. So finding a good accountant, finding a good legal person, those are individuals that are going to be behind you and helping you through this process. So I wouldn't have known anything in terms of like how to do my taxes if it wasn't for my financial guy. Like that was huge. He's like, yeah, you need to do this, you need to do that, A, B, C, D. So that was one thing that I would definitely recommend. Number 2 is start small and to continually grow it. So many people have these aspirations of saying like, hey, I'm gonna start off this huge investment. I've got these investors. If you have investors, great. I would stay away from it as much as you can, right? Because having someone outside of your world telling you what to do isn't the way you want, right? As an entrepreneur, you're the individual, you're the face of the business, so you've got to make sure you've got it on tap. So that's another piece. But I would lastly say like patience. Like I'm not a patient guy, and I love like instant gratification. Most people do, and I love like just crushing stuff. And I've had to teach myself to really just, all right, this is the path. This is what we're gonna do, and we're just gonna grind it out every day, and it's just gonna keep growing little by little by little by little. And just I guess another piece is like taking care of your customers. Like if you're a customer centric business, like making sure that you're putting them first. I don't want to get all cliche and say like like the whole whatever that Burger King thing was, like have it your way or whatever it was, but like at the end of the day, if they're not happy, you're not making money. So I love dealing with people that, this industry as a whole is awesome because people come in here bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and want to change their lives, right? And they want to get healthy, and it's super easy to do if they're happy, right? If we're not getting results and they're not happy, then they're not going to keep paying you, So we want to make sure that they're taken care of and they're getting results, and we're holding them accountable. And at the end of the day, if they're not getting there, then we're not going to be open anymore. So, but I'd say that's any business, communication, organization, continually talking to them, seeing how they're feeling. Feedback is key, just those little things help.
Those are great.
Yeah, I gave you like 7 tips. I truly enjoy this industry. I wouldn't be in it for the 15 years I've been in it if I didn't enjoy it. But at the end of the day, like I don't want to wear a suit and tie and sit in a cubicle and stare at a computer screen all day. Like I can't do that. I need to move and I need to be active and hang out with some people when I want to, and